Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Now today we're going to be taking a very brief look at Project Motor Racing. And there's a reason why it's going to be very brief. Because I'm going to cut right to the chase. It's pants. Now, like many of you guys, I've been sucked in because of all the hype. Amazing physics, amazing handling, realistic weather, an unbelievable selection of cars and tracks. And some of that is true. But the things that are important to me are just not there. Now, I know there's a bit of a backstory with Ian Bell, Project Cars, Project Motor Racing. To be honest, I don't care. I was on a bit of a sim racing break when Project Cars 2 and 3 was out, so I missed it entirely. So I'm taking Project Motor Racing on face value. And for me, it's got to do something that all the other simulators out there don't do. Now, admittedly, I'm on a pre-release version of Project Motor Racing, but it launches officially in a couple of days' time. And I thought I was actually playing the build that was going to be released, but I looked at Twitter and Ian Bell said that the people that have been playing this and testing this aren't on the build that's going to be released to the public. And I've replied to him saying, what's the point then? Anybody that plays this now is just going to highlight the flaws and what needs fixed. So I'm going to be giving you my opinion on the build as it is now. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, for Project Motor Racing's sake, that it changes dramatically from today to when it's released. So let's talk about the positives first of all. So visually, I think it looks really nice from inside the cockpit. But any footage that you might have seen on YouTube of the cars externally, TV cameras, chase cameras, in the build that I've got, it doesn't look anything like that. It looks like a game from 2008. But in the cockpit, it looks really nice. I am running it at 4K resolution, but with DLSS and frame gen turned on. Without those, the frame rate wasn't very good, although it has been pretty stable. And the other positive thing for me is the audio. Well, the car audio, the engine, the transmission whine, the turbos, the curbs, I think they all sound really good, but the tyre noise is absolutely pants, and you can't adjust that. Now, another positive, I suppose, is the car selection. There's a really good, diverse selection of cars. There's pretty much something on there which will tickle your fancy. Track selection as well is pretty strong, but there's a couple of unknown tracks on there that I'd never seen before, such as Derby and Northampton. Obviously, that's Donington and Silverstone. Need to get your finger in your pocket to get those licenses. But thankfully, all the cars have all got their proper names, so they all appear to be officially licensed. Now, unfortunately, that's the positives done with. A simulator can have all the cars it wants. It can have all the tracks it wants. You know, it can have an amazing selection. If the handling and physics is bad, I'm not going to play it. And like I mentioned at the start, Project Motor Racing's got to do something that other simulators don't do. And I've got to tell you, it doesn't do anything that the other simulators don't do. And what it does do, driving-wise, it does it worse. Now, firstly, we'll talk about force feedback, which is a bit of a hit and miss. Sometimes it feels really nice when going over curbs. You know, when going down the straight, you can feel the detail from the road. But when you're mid-corner, there's nothing. It's dead. Feels like a spring. I have absolutely no idea what the front of the car's doing on corner entry, and I've got absolutely no idea what the rear is doing on corner exit. When driving this, I'm literally reacting to what I can see. And it's not like I'm on some cheap, like belt-driven wheel, entry-level wheel. I'm on a SimiCube 2 Pro, and I've tried various different profiles, and it's not great. Every other simulator on the market, in my opinion, does it better. Now, on the 4th of November, Ian Bell, the guy behind this title, tweeted saying he couldn't contain himself and saying that we were in for a treat with the physics. Well, let me talk about the physics. Now, for me, a sim racing title has got to do the basics. And the basics for me is weight transfer. You know, talking about mass. You move mass from one place to another, well, there's going to be a reaction. So when cornering, when braking, when accelerating, when moving the weight of the car around, the car should react accordingly. You know, when trail braking, moving the weight over the front of the car should bite in, and that should make the rear of the car loose. But I haven't had a feeling of weight transfer in this title. And I took the Mazda MX-5 around Lime Rock Park, a car which is all about mechanical grip. And obviously weight transfer in cars such as the MX-5 is key because you don't have any downforce. But there was absolutely nothing. Lifting off the gas to try and get the weight over the front of the car did nothing. The only impact I could have when lapping around Lime Rock Park in the MX-5 was adjusting the speed so I could get around the turn. What I did with the accelerator and the brake didn't really matter. And it didn't feel like there was any engine braking at all. In fact, I actually thought that my throttle pedal was kind of calibrated incorrectly, and it was showing an input when it wasn't. It felt like I was still accelerating. It was weird. Same story with other cars, but not as much because you do have a little bit of aero. But I didn't feel that how I was driving the car and the inputs that I was making was having an impact on what it was doing. I was driving a prototype around Daytona, and I've never drifted a prototype like that in any other simulator. You might have heard other YouTubers saying you should be able to drive over the limit. And that's something that I kind of disagree with. Where do you define the limit? The limit for me is before you lose control. It's not when you're sideways. But there's been times when I've been driving in Project Motor Racing when I've genuinely been over the limit. And in any other simulator or in a car in real life, I would have lost control. But Project Motor Racing has got it back. And I should have been able to get those cars back under control. I drove an old Mercedes prototype around the Nordschleife, like trying to drive it really badly to try and get the car to lose control. I was trying to get it to pop out the carousel. It didn't want to go out the carousel. It was kind of stuck in there. Eventually I did get it out, but it was just so unrealistic. Now, again, on the 4th of November, Ian Bell tweeted saying the AI is excellent right now. You tell me if that's excellent. So I feel really bad slating Project Motor Racing, but I feel a little bit annoyed that I've been sucked in, and I don't normally believe hype. I don't normally jump on board, but for some reason I did. I feel a little bit let down, but I'm hoping and praying that there's some huge fixes between now and the build that I've got and the proper release. This probably will appeal to some. I don't know who, but it will appeal to some people. And I know it's going to be released on console, but I genuinely think Gran Turismo handles better. So I don't know where it sits. So yeah, I feel bad making this video, but my advice to you would be wait a little while, see what people say when it's been released, what the official build is going to be for version 1. Another look after the release and compare the two and tell you what I think then. So what do you think about it? Are you hyped? Were you as hyped as me? Are you going to buy it? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. Have a great week. See you later. Cheers.